Hey everybody, welcome to my tips and tricks and Tricaster training information. My name is Lee Fuller and I'm a longtime user of the Tricaster, and you're looking at the Tricaster 2 Elite interface. And I know that this kind of tip will work, should work for TC1 Pro, TC1 Minis, and some of the others. But I know for sure it works on the TC2 Elite. I think if you try this on yours, I think you'll find that it'll work just fine. So if you're using a different version. So today, what we're talking about is the automation of lower thirds, but using those lower thirds in an ME. So let me show you what I mean. So typically, and I've got this set up a little differently. I'm going to go back and kind of reset it. So typically, when we have a lower third, when we have an ME, and we want to kind of create it and build something with a background, what we would do is we'd go into this background area, and I'm going to put DDR1 in as my background on this ME, and it kind of doesn't matter what you have on the B channel because you're basically fading between the two. And typically what you would do is that you would then bring in, and I'm going to use input number 1 as my keyer. I'm going to go ahead and fade that up. And you can see what I've done is I've positioned this keyer so that, and let me take this on program and I go back to my others here. Here we go. And so here we go. Now we've got a lower, we've got an ME with a animated background, and we've got our input number 1 here. And I don't have anything on input number 1 at the moment, but I'm just showing this to you for positioning and so that you can understand it. So this is great. Except, what if we want to bring in a lower third and we want to automate that lower third so that whoever is in this input, whichever input we've selected, their name shows up in that lower third automatically. So now, let me just bring in the standard lower third. I have just a basic lower third in here right now, and it's in buffer number 1. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change this to what we normally would do, and we would say at program source name. And you can see that immediately jumps to ME1, which is a problem. And I'm not even going to change the title because I'm going to show that to you later. But here's the problem. The problem is ME1 is not the person that we have in here in this input. And if I switch the inputs on this ME keyer here, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to change anything for what I want in this lower third. So there is really no automation that's working here for the lower third in this particular layout. So that's a problem. And most of the time when you're bringing lower thirds like this, you're going to do them when they're in a full screen mode. I'm going to switch over to my other screen. You're going to do them in this full screen mode so that they're nice and clear and everybody can read them and they're fantastic. And that's kind of what you want for a look. Now, there are people that are going to say, well, what about 2-ups? What about 3-ups? What about 4-ups? Those are totally different. Frankly, I don't put lower thirds on 2-ups, 3-ups, 4-ups. I don't do that because they're so small anyway. They're hard to read, and they're so difficult to set in for positioning and getting them all correct. It's a lot of work to do during a switch. So I only do them on the 1-ups. But for you might do those, and there are other ways to do that, but that's not what this is about. So how do we get this name to match the input that we have inside our ME? Well, let me show you. I've come up with kind of a cool little trick that works really well. And I stumbled across this, and even though I've been doing this for a long time, it just kind of hit me that we could do it a different way, and here's the way to do it. So now I'm going to switch this ME to what we would normally use, and I'll show the defaults here. You can do a 2-layer, 3-layer, 4-layer ME, right? And you would normally do those for virtual sets, or if you want to, overlay information or underlay information on one preset to another preset. So that's not what we're doing here today, though. What we're going to do is just use this 2-up, okay, or I should say 2-layer. And when I do this 2-layer, you'll notice that nothing's really changed here in my ME because I still have my DDR1 sitting over the top and I have a key sitting over the top here. But I'm going to turn this key off because we're not going to use it. And what I really want is I want the B layer to be DDR1. And I want the A layer to be my input. Now, I can simply go in here and position this top layer just like I would an ME. in any other way that I do it, and bring it down, zoom it down, crop it. I can do whatever I want to do with this. And I've got the same look, but I still have this problem of having that ME name and the title sitting here in my lower third. So how do we fix that problem? Well, it's real simple. If I go back over to my inputs here, and I'm going to name them. So I'm going to name this one Bob Smith. And I'm even going to give him a title. I'm going to say President. And I'm going to close that. And then I'm going to go here into input number 2. And I'm going to name this John. If I could only do it right. John Doe. And I'm going to give him a title of Vice. Can't spell today. President and GM. All right. So I've got those named correctly now. So now, when I go back over to this lower third, we've got to get this lower third to bring in that name. So how do we do that? We change this data link to be ME, and you can see you've got ME1 A source name, ME1 A source comment, and you can do ME2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. But I'm just doing ME1 today. So I'm going to make that ME1 A source name, and boom. Now we've got Bob Smith because he's the one that's set. And if I go here to, if I could just type today, ME, and I'm going to say source comment. Now, boom, I've got president in there. So here's the cool part. If I switch my top layer A to John Doe, his input, voila, I now have an automated lower third sitting on an ME. So now if I want to take this off, I say, okay, I've got Bob Smith on, and hi Bob, let's show Bob's lower third, bring in lower third, okay, lower third out, and then I switch away and I go to some other input, and then I come back and I've got another one up, and I've got John Doe on now, and lower third in, and there you go. So now you've got the same look, the same layout, and you could even do multiple layers if you wanted to change this to, a 3-layer or 4-layer. You could do that, but still you've got that automated lower third. So of course, what are you going to do now? You probably set up a macro to trigger this DSK1, the downstream keyer 1, to bring on that lower third and to take that lower third out. And now you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, did I get the right DSK? Did I get the right buffer? And you don't have to set, John Doe and Bob Smith and Ed Stevens and, Dave Thomas and all these people and all these different buffers and bring them in as a keyer and worry, do I have the right one? And in the middle of a broadcast. The last thing you want to do in a broadcast is make it more complex, more moving parts, and have mistakes made because you've got too many things going on at once. Here, it's fully automated and ready to go. So I hope that was helpful. I know it's been very helpful to me. It's so much simpler because now I don't have to worry about it. Once I take my ME1 and I know, I've got the right person in my layout and in preview, and then I just bring them on program, and then I slide in the lower third, I know that whichever person I have in that input is going to come up with the right lower third. So hopefully that was helpful to you. If it was, or if you have any other comments or any other ideas, please drop them in the comments below. Really like to hear any information that you've got, suggestions, tips. This is really all about getting people to be able to use their TriCaster interface in a more effective way and an easier way, in a more streamlined way in a production, so you make less mistakes, no more fat fingering. You can just make it look awesome and professional. So thanks everybody for watching. If you have any comments, questions, put them down below, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Peace.